Hi, this is Nikki Lynn Bean with PhotographersBlingMagazine.com. Today's tutorial is going to show you a little bit about masking in Photoshop. This tutorial specifically is going to be designed for some of our newborn photographers who've been following us on Bling and had some questions about how to do the fade the background with the baby blankets. You can also use this in other types of photography, but today's demonstration is going to be showing you specifically how to do that with a newborn blanket. There's a couple of different ways to go about doing this, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm just going to show you both ways right now. So let's just get started. I am going to go ahead and bring my image up that I want to use as a demonstration. This is an image of little 1-week-old baby. So the first thing that we're going to do in our layers palette is we are going to go over here and we are going to drag our background layer all the way down onto this little piece of paper to the left of the trash can, and this is going to instantly duplicate our background layer. I'm going to go ahead and call this Fade the Blanket. So we've gone ahead and named that, and to name it you can just double click right on there and it opens up a text box. The next thing that I want to do is keep an eye, as you're looking at your image, you'll notice that this part of my backdrop is a little bit lighter than this part of my backdrop. So what I want to do first is I want to go ahead and do a little bit of a curves adjustment layer. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Command M on a Mac, and I'm going to actually pick with my dropper over here to the darker edge, and when I do that you can see a little arrow right here inside of your curves box pops up to tell you what you're clicking on. So right here I'm picking sort of the darker color because this side of the blanket is deeper. So I click that and it shows me right there my output. So I'm going to go ahead and I want to increase the output of just that area of the blanket. So I'm just going to pull this up and you'll see that instantly that has gone ahead and has increased the size of that, or the color of that side of the blanket. So I'm going to say okay, I'm happy with that. The next thing I'm going to do is go up to select a color range, and that is File, Photoshop, Edit, Image, Layer, and the fifth one in is going to be Select. And then we're going to go down about halfway down this layer option, or down this option, menu option, and click Color Range. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to choose this background area. You'll see that when I do this, when I select, you can select any color range inside of your box here. And you'll see that as we do this, the values change inside of our little thumbnail box for our color range. So I want to pick an area inside the blanket that mostly represents the color of the background. But yet I don't want to get the baby in here. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I know that some of the baby's face is still selected inside of here, but I'm going to show you how to take her out. So we're just going to go ahead in here and we are going to put our fuzziness at about, let's go with 49%, and I'm going to click OK. You'll see that this instantly added some marching ants onto my picture, and this is basically showing me all of these areas that have been selected in my tonal range. And again, part of her face has been selected, but don't worry about that. I'm going to show you how to fix it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, click this Fade the Background layer, and then down here in the bottom of the layers palette we want to click the Add Layer Mask, and this looks like a little camera or it looks like a little rectangle with a circle in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. You'll see that instantly what's happened over here is it's created a mask, and you can see white reveals when you're working with masks, white reveals and black conceals. So the color range selection that I have selected for the mask, the part that is revealing what I'm going to do to the image, is all white, and the part that has been concealed is black. So what I want to do to ensure that I'm not going to get any of my effects on the baby is I'm going to go ahead and click the masking layer, and I am going to choose black as my foreground color. And to do that, you just click on your foreground color, this box pops up and you choose black. It's super easy. And I want to add this at 100%. And what I'm going to do to just ensure that I'm not going to affect any of the baby's skin tones with this mask is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to paint her black. And it might be hard for you to see. I'm going to try to zoom in on this for you so that you can see it. If you're clicking on the mask and you're doing your color over here, you'll see that I'm going to be painting all of this area of the baby and the flowers. I'm going to be painting it black so that this part of whatever changes I make to my image will be concealed and will not affect her. So I'll go ahead and zoom back out. And I'm just going to continue adding this mask to make sure that has been completely added in here. So we'll add it to the flowers. Okay, and that's good. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the picture of the baby. I'm going to click off the mask and I'm going to click on the picture of the baby. Now what I want to do to get this nice soft effect here in the background, and again there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. The first way is you can go up here and you can choose filter, you can choose blur, and you can choose Gaussian blur. And you will see that this is going to immediately add a blur, and I'm going to really zoom this in so that you can see it really, really clearly. I'm going to go ahead and show you. I'll zoom in on my screen. You'll see that this area in the background now has added a Gaussian blur to the entire background, but has not affected the baby, any of the areas where that mask was. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom back out. For the purpose of what we want to do, I would probably just do a blur, probably at about Gaussian blur at about 39.9%. And I'd go ahead and call it good. If this was my photo, I would say I'm happy with that. The background's blurred. It's exactly what I would want to do to deliver it to my client. I'm good to go. I'm just going to show you one other way to go ahead and fade that gives you a little bit more control over the sides and the details. So we'll go ahead and we'll go in and do that. I am going to go into my history, and I'm going to go back up to my brush tool, and I'm going to take that blur. Basically, I'm just going into my history and I'm backing up a couple steps. So now I want to show you how to do the fade the background with a paintbrush. So basically all the beginning steps are the same. We're going to duplicate the background layer just like we did before. We're going to use the selective color range to create a mask. And now what I'm going to do is this mask is here. I'm clicking on my background. I'm clicking on the actual image of the baby. And I'm going to go ahead and choose my foreground color, and I'm going to choose with my dropper a color tone that's in the blanket here, something that is pretty universal across the board. I'm going to go ahead with this tone here. So for me, I like this beigey color that I picked. And now what I want to do is choose my paintbrush, and I want to choose about a 900 pixel brush, which I'm happy with that. I like my hardness where it is. I'm going to leave it kind of soft. But my opacity of what I'm going to be adding, I want to bring down to only about a 50% because I don't want to add it too heavy all at once. So I'm going to go about 50%. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting on the actual picture. I'm going to paint in the background. And remember before when we had painted the mask on the baby black, she was not revealed. So all of the changes that I'm making to this photo right now are only going to be going on where the mask is white, because the white reveals and black conceals. So the baby, because the mask is black, is hidden from any effects that I'm now making. So I'm going to go ahead in here and I'm just going to add a little bit more of this in through here. And you'll see instantly that there's a little bit of my background layer here, or the actual blanket itself, that wasn't masked properly. So what I want to do to allow me to be able to see my paint strokes, I'm going to click on that mask, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint it white because I want to be able to reveal what I'm doing to the image. So I'm going to paint it white so that it allows the mask to come through. And I'm also going to fix it over here too on this side just a little. So I'm going to go ahead now. Once I've done that and I fix the mask and it's where I want it to be, fine tune it just a little bit further here. Once I have that where I want it to be, I'm going to go ahead and click back on the image again. And this time I want to bring my opacity down a little bit more when I'm adding the color. And the reason for this is that you want to have a nice gradual fade. So you want to go from a nice darker color that's complementary to the background into a really soft light color. So in doing that, I'm going to go in here and just add this lighter color with a very soft faded brush so that you don't have any harsh lines. So we've gone ahead and done that. This little bit over here needs to be cleaned up just a little. So I'm going to go ahead in there and add that. And you'll see that you've instantly gone ahead and you have a now faded background. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you in my history palette that this was the before image. And you can see all the way down to the end that this was the after blurred image. And again, this is very rough for the purpose of the demonstration. If you were actually going to be giving an image to a client, obviously you want to make sure all the little areas, like this little area right here, I would clean up a little bit more if I was delivering this to the client. So there's the two ways. So again, I'm just going to show you one more time really, really quickly. I'm going to go ahead and delete this layer. So the first thing you're going to do is take your background layer. You're going to drag it onto the paper. That's step number one. Name your background layer, background blanket. Then you want to go to select color range. You want to choose a color range that's in that background. And if you don't feel that you're getting a good even color, remember once again, you can go to your curves and increase your curves just a little bit to give you a little bit of a better boost. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to do this. Fuzziness around 56%. We're going to go ahead and we're going to click on the little camera icon, make a mask. We will click on the mask option. We want to paint the area of our photo that we do not want affected by the by what we're doing to the picture, by our fading. We want to paint that black. So we're just going to go ahead and make sure that all these skin tones in the baby in that blanket, in the flowers, etc., are painted dark black. Let's go ahead and we'll do that. We have a nice black mask now. We're all set with that. Now we click back on the actual image color. And now you have two options. Now you can go up and you can select filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and then choose how much you want it blurred. My personal preference is to fade the backgrounds this way. I think it looks cleaner. I think it looks crisper. I think it takes much less time. The other method that I showed you with the painting, again, does give you a little bit more creative control. If you feel that you need that for a specific image, then that's great. That's fine. You should use it. But for most purposes, this will actually work fine. So that's your first option. I'm just going to go ahead and cancel out of there because I'm just going to refresh you on the rest. If you do decide that you want to paint it, once again, you click on the image. You make sure you have a soft brush selected. Again, we picked ours at a hardness of 2%. Our size was right around 900. And we had our opacity set to between 40 and 50%. We used our color picker tool to pick a color in the background that we felt worked the best. And then we just simply painted it into the area of our picture where we know it's going to show up. And again, this area was selected with the color picker tool, and we have created a mask allowing us to paint inside of this area. So once again, that is a quick tutorial on masking, number one. Most important thing is that white reveals and black conceals. Sorry, I always have to say it a couple times in my head. But white reveals, black conceals. And just basically have fun with it, play around with it. Photoshop is something where you really need to play around with all the tools and not be afraid of messing anything up. So always duplicate your background layer. Never save over an original file. That's a mistake you only make one time. And just don't be afraid to have fun. Photoshop has lots of wonderful things that are fun, and you definitely need to be able to play around with them and not worry about it. Please check us out at photographersbling.com. You can check our actions out at photographersblingmagazine.com. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/photographersbling. We offer giveaways, free action tutorials, awesome action sets that we love and use in all of our edits. We also have a Bling Testers group, which is a group that helps us test our actions. So if you're interested in becoming one of our members of our Action Testers group and you're very well versed with Photoshop or Elements, please email us at photographersbling@me.com. That's photographersbling@me.com. We're always looking for new recruiters, so anytime that you have an image or some work that you'd like to submit for consideration into our group, feel free to do so at photographersbling@me.com. Okay, that's the end of my blabble. I hope that this tutorial was helpful for you, and we hope that you have a great weekend. Take care.